Okay, hey there. This is Matt, and I'm going to do another quick screen share here, video on HDR techniques. This time I'm going to use a different program called Photomatix. So my first video was using, let's see, first video was using HDR EFX Pro, but this time I'm going to use the Photomatix Pro, just to give an idea of what the difference is here. So again, here are my, I have 7 pictures here in this this bracketed exposure. In the first video, I kind of talked about a little bit more in detail about them. I'll give a quick overview, but I won't say much about it. Let's see here. This is the first one. Show this. This is so this was taken at ISO 100 and 17 millimeter at f22, and the reason why I did it at f22 is to get a kind of a blur, a nice little blur here on the water. This one was for 2 seconds. This is 1 stop down, 1 stop up, +1, -2, +2, -3, and finally +3. So anyways, let's see here. Okay, and then these are some of the other pictures that I've already done with other software. All right, so let's see here. I've got, make sure I'm on the right. Okay, I'm in the right one. What I'm going to do is I am going to take just this one, and I'm going to, excuse me, let me try again. I'm going to take this one, and this one, and this one. So I'm going to take a low, underexposed, and one overexposed. Basically, I'm just going to take 3 pictures here, and that's all I'm going to use for my for this this time instead of using all of them. It should be enough for Photomatix to use, and there's Photomatix Pro running. So I'm just going to click and drag. This is a little bit different. So you have 2 ways. You can click and drag those there like that. Oops, didn't mean to resort them there. That's all right. The other option I could do is I could right click on these and export. But what I found is if you do it this way, you actually miss out on a couple of finalized options. So it's better to just grab the ones you care about and just drag them right into the program. And I will, when we get to that point, I'll mention the program, the dialog boxes that we aren't going to miss out on. Okay, so we get this, we see this, and this right here is one. I don't think we see this in the export menu, so this is nice to look at the white balance and a change. This is a read-only field right here, but it's nice to have. These are obviously, this is the Kelvin values right here, so you could always do as shot. But one thing I found, especially if you look at these pictures, they're kind of blue tinge to them. So I'm going to kind of take that into account. I'm going to use shade, which is, I know I don't really care about the shade preset so much, but I care about the Kelvin. And so it's in between shade and cloudy is kind of where I'm at. So I think I'm going to try shade and do the align and merge. So now it's going to convert these 3 pictures into my HDR. And this does seem to take quite a bit of time to do this part of it. This seems to be the take the longest, at least on my computer, takes the longest amount of processing between this and EFX Pro. All right. So, however, I will say this about time to process. If you do Lightroom's built-in HDR, that is hands down the slowest of all 3. All right. let's see. So I've got some built-in presets here that I can try out. Interesting, just interesting look. I found that, oh, first thing you want to do is you want to click fit. That will reformat the whole page or the whole picture to fit properly. And so here are my sliders. Here are my presets. I tend to do the, oh, that's a little bit nicer. Let me make that bigger and make that a little bit bigger. All right. This tends to be how I like to work. One line of presets on the right, and then my sliders over here, and this kind of maximizes this space a little bit better. So I've got some artistic pictures here. Some enhanced. This is probably my favorite one for this picture is enhanced. You can get some pretty wild looking pictures. Grunge. That's kind of the what I found about Photomatix is that it tends to lean on the it does have some kind of realistic, some photorealistic settings here, but the it definitely has its fair share, more so than other apps I've seen, is when it comes to built-in presets for some of the just kind of really out there crazy looking pictures. So anyways, oh, and one nice, quite a few photo or black and white choices here too. So it's pretty. I like that. I think I might do a whole nother line of just monochrome, black and white looking HDRs just to get a whole nother perspective. All right, so I need to pick something. Got to pick something. Got to make some choices. This is always the hardest part here. And the thing about Photomatix is, man, there are a ton of choices. So this is not a Photomatix tutorial. This is just a quick workflow of how to take a HDR picture or from shooting it to spitting something out. So I'm going to find something that's actually not bad. I like that. It's not bad at all, actually. I like these. Ooh, a little too yellow. Go back. Look at detail. Listen. I'm really not going to be very fussy about this. I'm just going to kind of pick one that seems to have a nice, bright and colorful look to it. That gives a nice, good contrast, but also kind of shows some drama up here in the clouds. And these, by the way, these are some free presets I found online. If you just do a search for free Photomatix presets, you'll find I found over 100 presets. So you should be able to find lots as well. Golden, wow, that's pretty nice. I could probably work with that. Ooh, there's some nice kind of dark looking ones there too, which is cool. And then if I just kind of double check on these, yep, still get some pretty good looks here. Let's see here. All right, got to make some choices. Let's see here. Let's find something that is not too crazy, but maybe a little bit more than what I would used to, what I'm used to doing. If I can find something maybe a little painterly. I just really like some of these more realistic ones, though. It's hard to go off. All right, let's take too long. All right, there we go. I'm going to choose this one. And so let's go ahead and hit apply. So this will go ahead and create it. Now, at this point, this is the picture that I would actually see in Lightroom. However, when you click and drag these two Photomatix, you are presented with this finishing touch dialog, and you've got some color choices, you've got some contrast choices that you can add, and this is just kind of like a finalizing post-processing choices that kind of give you a little bit extra that you can do, knowing that this is with the HDR pictures, not with the HDR picture after it's been HDR'd. So I watched a tutorial online today, and it mentioned this as just add a little bit of sharpening to it afterwards. So I think I'm going to do that. You can tell, especially like in the rocks here in the detail, this is without, and then if I just add a little bit of sharpening, it just kind of pops just a little bit more. And so I'm going to click done. And so now I've got my picture, but it's not saved anywhere. So let me go ahead and save. Well, it can be saved as a Photomatix file, but what I wanted is something that I can then re-import back into Lightroom. So I'm going to save it like that. And let's see. Save. It should be, looks like it's done. So let me go back to Lightroom, and I can go in here and synchronize folder. It will find the one that I've just added and import that. And I've been color coding these, so depending on which HDR program I use. So let me go ahead and do that. Color code and go back to our folder here. And let me just look at so here's the one we just did. One thing that I would do with this is afterwards, I talked a little bit about this in my last video, is I would go in here, and that actually turned out better than I thought it was going to. So for just randomly selecting samples. A couple of things, and I mentioned this before, is this is a dusty. This was one of the downsides of using f/22 is that you're going to see dust if you have any dust on your lenses. So I'm going to have to go in here and use a healing brush to, whoa, way too yellow. I might bring that dial it back down a little bit. There you go, like that. Let me add a little bit more contrast. That's a little too much, actually. Oh, I could add more and then go in here and lower my highlights down. There we go. That's better. And enable my profile corrections. Rotate it or align it properly, and then throw in a little vignetting. Ooh, too much, too much, too much. Come back. And it's actually a little bit more than I usually do, but it looks pretty good for this one. Let me come back down. Get a little bit darker. Nice, very nice. And what else can I do to this? I can do a little noise reduction. We did noise reduction already with the HDR, but I can do that in Lightroom as well. And I think for right now, I'm going to be done with this. The only thing, obviously, I'd want to do, and this will take way too long, is do the dust. But just to give you an idea of what this looks like. It's really nice. That turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to, so I'm really happy with that. All right, I'm done. All right, so that was Photomatix. And just to kind of compare, here are some of the original files that I took. And let's see here. This is, I believe this is HDR. Yeah. All right. So this is EFX Pro. So this is an EFX Pro one. Here's another EFX Pro. that I took. You can see it's pretty violet or purple here. Not as not the same. And this is one I just did. This was kind of a test one. I went ahead and actually got rid of all the dust on this one. This one turned out, this was more of a painterly kind of artistic look to it. So you can tell in the skyline. And then finally, here's the one we just did. All right. Okay, guys. This is it for me. Nope. Oh, I'm all done. You gonna say goodbye?
Goodbye. Have a nice weekend.